proceeds to drag her lifeless body around by her hair.
Suzuki's dragging her like a dead deer, like how hunters drag dead deers in the back of their truck where I'm from. Holy crap.
She's around.
So we're going to be acting to win intergender wrestling goes wrong. Meaning basically when male wrestlers face female wrestlers, in some times it doesn't go as planned. If you guys haven't yet, please like, subscribe, comment. Let's get into this video.
May be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Asuka is one of the greatest women's wrestlers in the world today. She has separated herself from other women in wrestling through her incredible in-ring skill, charismatic aura, protracted longevity, impressive versatility, and her strong connection with the fans. With all of these aspects, she's managed to become a multi-time Women's World Champion in WWE with many remarkable reigns. However, Asuka wasn't always Asuka, and things haven't always been rosy, especially when she was in Japan wrestling under the ring name Kana. An incident occurred in Japan in 2014 when Asuka had a match against the most notorious.
This man right here has to be potentially one of the stiffest strikers in professional wrestling. So it's like Gunther. Trying to think if there's anyone else. Ishii at times. Yeah, those three are probably the top three most stiff wrestlers out there from
man in Japanese wrestling, the murder grandpa himself, Minoru Suzuki. In this match, he absolutely decimated Asuka and it crossed the line as far as intergender wrestling goes, as it was more akin to an actual domestic assault. But why did Suzuki go so hard on Asuka?
YouTube, please don't demonetize me. Please don't block my video.
And how did it all
Please and
come to
thank
this
you.
point? Asuka was born in Osaka, Japan in 1981, and growing up she was a massive fan of professional wrestling. But weirdly enough, she wasn't a fan of Joshi wrestling at all, which is Japanese.
The chick just got full leg attack. Safe passing. Just putting it that that chick got full leg attack Bill. Holy crap.
Women's wrestling, even though it has such a rich history. Instead, she was interested in men's wrestling, as her heroes were wrestling legends like the Great Muto, Antonio Inoki, and someone who she would infamously make headlines with in the future, none other than Minoru Suzuki. Even though she had a great love for wrestling, she instead went into a different field as a career. She worked as a graphic designer and a journalist in the gaming industry, as video games were another one of her passions. Her current YouTube channel is a testament to this. Even though she loved the video game industry and achieved a lot, she had a calling for her first true love, which was professional wrestling, and so she quit her job and started to train to become a professional wrestler in 2003. She made her debut in 2004 under the ring name Kana in the all-female promotion Major Girls Fighting at Oz, previously known as the promotion Arison. She wrestled for less.
Just putting this out there, Asuka with her natural hair looks absolutely. I would not recognize her. I'm just throwing it out there. Without thinking,
than 2 years in this promotion because she was forced to retire in 2006 as she was diagnosed with chronic nephritis, a condition that caused inflammation of the kidneys and that can be caused and exacerbated by exactly the type of strenuous exercise that comes with the job of being a wrestler. When she left wrestling, she opened up her own graphic design agency, but her professional wrestling itch was just too strong and she returned back to the ring in 2007, a year and a half after retiring. When she returned, she really started to build her name and fame in wrestling. While American wrestling had long been dominated by a single company, WWE, the Japanese wrestling scene is far more splintered, especially where Joshi is concerned. The biggest promotion in Japan, New Japan Pro Wrestling, did not feature women's wrestling at all, leaving a void to be filled by a ton of smaller companies. After Asuka came back to wrestling, she wrestled for pretty much all of these Joshi wrestling promotions. She arguably found her greatest fame in the promotion Pro Wrestling Wave, where she was one of the company's top stars. It was in this promotion that she formed the stable Triple Tails with Io Shirai, now known as Io Sky in WWE, and who was a multi-time Women's World Champion there. The stable was also with Io's sister, Mio Shirai.
So Io Shirai and Asuka were in a faction in Japan. Okay. I knew it was in Stardom and Kana wasn't, but that's a different topic. This makes more sense on why you would add Asuka to Damage Control, honestly. Because, yeah.
Right. This trio would go on to dominate the Joshi wrestling scene, but they disbanded after about a year. Everything changed for Asuka in 2010 though, when she published her manifesto in the magazine Weekly Pro Wrestling. And no, not the type of manifesto of one of those mass shooters who murder loads of people, but a professional wrestling manifesto. Through this manifesto, she explained how she was largely disillusioned and disgusted with the Joshi wrestling scene, which she found overly stylized and more focused on how the woman looked, rather than the product itself. She also
That was inaccurate.
Trashed her fellow Joshi pro wrestlers, not only for their personalities, but also for their wrestling. Asuka basically went full savage mode on the Joshi wrestling scene. So here you got a hotshot
This is 100% true, just throwing it out there.
Joshi and Asuka, who had only a few years experience wrestling, calling for a notion to improve the Joshi wrestling industry. Even though there was nothing inherently wrong with what she said, she was in most folks' eyes a rookie overstepping her bounds by burying the Joshi industry by pointing out its very blatant flaws. This is a no-go in a Japanese society that values conformity, age, and seniority. This manifesto managed to not only get her on the bad side of her peers, but promoters too. She was crucified in the media for this, and was also accused of being too stiff and dangerous in the ring. Funnily enough, this manifesto shot Asuka right to the top of the industry, because everyone essentially hated her and wanted to see her.
Kana is definitely Asuka, whatever you would like to call her. She's definitely stiff, but that's just how Japanese culture and wrestling is. I enjoy Japanese wrestling. It's my favorite style of wrestling, strong style of wrestling. I'm just throwing it out there. The stiff part of it, everyone is like that. It's not just Kana, Suzuki, everyone is like that. Shota Umo, Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito, etc., are all like that. Mayu Iwatani, all of them in Japanese wrestling. It's just their style of wrestling, strong style.
Get a comeuppance. All of this caused her to begin producing her own shows around this time under the banner Kana Pro. The fact that she was able to pull big crowds in Japan based off of her name and the other wrestlers she invited to wrestle on her cards just showed how talented and how popular she actually was in the Joshi wrestling scene. She was still hated by her peers and promoters, so much so that she even claimed that Stardom is an organization that was created to defeat me. Stardom was co-founded in 2011 by one of Asuka's biggest enemies, Nane Takahashi, with whom she had real-life beef with and even allegedly got into a backstage fistfight with years prior. Even though Stardom at that time was not as big as it is in this day and age, Asuka was essentially blacklisted from the company and not allowed to wrestle there. But that didn't matter though, as she was still getting booked across Japan, cause she could draw very well. She was also getting booked in the United States for promotions like Shima and Chikara.
Honestly, in my opinion, if she would have signed with Stardom, her and Kairi would have tore down the house in Stardom. Whatever Kairi is popping in Stardom in like 2015, roughly. But this is like 2011, roughly. 2012 probably, if I had to guess. But like honestly, her Kairi, who else was in Stardom around that time? I can't even remember. I know there's definitely three that
some
come
of
to
her
mind.
most notable opponents on the American independents being Sarah Del Rey, Mia Yim, Nikki Cross, and Athena. What also helped her in her popularity was the gravures that she released. These are basically very racy modeling videos, featuring her in a bikini in various compromising positions, doing various things that shall not be delved into on this video. It's definitely too hot for you.
Really? Really?
YouTube. What also helped her with her popularity were the two new gimmicks that she created and debuted in 2013, Kana Zombie and Kana Clown.
Contact some recordings with it at 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm like half asleep.
She used to wear nightmarish makeup, making her look almost demonic. There was a menacing dark aura around her, and she was not only scary to look at, but behaved in a similarly disturbing fashion. The poison mist.
For the ones that don't know, the whole Asuka at one point before she currently turned recently, where she went back to Japan and turned heel and became all out that was basically her going back to the old kind of like, that makes sense. That's kind of how
it's a prominent feature for her arsenal. Her current gimmick now in WWE is a callback to this version of Kana. This portrayal of her character was a Super Smash mega hit and caused her popularity to grow even more. And just like that, she had won over Joshi Wrestling as an industry. They preyed on Asuka's downfall, but all she did was rise to the top. She had so much influence and was such a big draw that it was hard for anyone to criticize her. She could be a lovable babyface who was funny and relatable, or a terrifying heel that made you uncomfortable with fear or hate. That is what made her so special. Her creativity and charisma shot her to the top, as she was the type of wrestler who was willing to be bold and take risks. She wasn't in it for the money or to be champion. She was wrestling because she loved it, and fans could tell, so they gravitated towards her. She was also very into intergender matches, as she wrestled various men before. This led her to a self-produced show, Kana Pro Mania Reach, in 2014, where she booked herself in a match, teaming with Pro Wrestling Noah mainstay Naomichi Marufuji versus Joshi legend Meiko Satomura, and the most notorious man in all of Japanese pro wrestling, and one of her heroes growing up, the wrestling king himself, Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki at this point forged a reputation all over the world and in Japan as one of the toughest and most badass guys in wrestling. Basically, he's a sick f***. Everything starts off normally as Suzuki and Asuka make their way to the ring.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this first.
The match begins as normal and everything is standard, but then whenever Asuka and Suzuki are wrestling, it's a little bit stiff. Nothing too crazy, but still stiff nonetheless, as he whacks her with a knee to the face and gives her very stiff elbows that rock her. She tries to fight back, but clearly she is no match for Suzuki, as he is bigger and stronger. Her offense on him is no sold.
Suzuki's not doing so anything. Like, legitimately, Suzuki is not, he's no seller.
Suzuki is straight up manhandling her, but still, it's nothing too out of the ordinary and is often seen in intergender matches to get heat for the man. But then almost 20 minutes into the match, in the end stretch, things start to cross the line. Asuka tries to fight Suzuki once more, and once again, he no-sells it. She eventually starts to get some offense on him, and he seems
Did she just do a static shining whistle? They kick him straight in the chest.
affected by her moves. This is a big mistake though, as Suzuki gets up and gives her one of the worst headbutts given from a man to a woman in wrestling. Suzuki then proceeds to drag her lifeless body around by her hair like...
Suzuki's dragging her like a dead deer, like how hunters drag dead deers in the back of their truck where I'm from. Holy crap.
She's a ragdoll, and proceeds to slap her while he's on top of her.
At this point, if I had to guess, Asuka's concussed at some point.
Then grabs her
Oh, there's the ref.
and strikes her face repeatedly in a brutal manner. Her partner Marufuji even comes in for the save, but Suzuki throws him out of the ring swiftly and proceeds to kick and slap Asuka. His own tag team partner, Meiko Satomura, sees what's going on.
This just proves how much Asuka is better than Charlotte, in my opinion. Charlotte would never do something like this. No, 97% of the women's division in WWE would not do those. Just throwing it out there. This just proves that Asuka is the best in the women's division in WWE.
On, and even steps into the ring to try and stop him, but he throws out of the ring swiftly as well, and continues to straight up assault Asuka. This was truly uncomfortable to watch, as you could tell Asuka was out of it. Once again, she tried to fight back, but this was futile. He put her in a leg lock, then chokehold, and then roughly put her into a gotch-style piledriver for the 1, 2, 3. The ending stretch of this match was one of the most unbearable and agonizing
Gotch-style piledriver.
This whole incident was planned though, as it was a work shoot, seeing that Asuka booked this match. Asuka asked Suzuki to go as hard as he could with her and not to hold back during this match. Suzuki apparently did not want to be as stiff as he was.
So it's taking a second to realize how fast the ref ran to Asuka, or Kana, whatever we'd like to call her, right after the match. You could tell that that was definitely sketchy.
But Asuka, being the booker of the show and wanting to give the fans a memorable experience, convinced him to go full Chris Brown on her. Suzuki was one of her inspirations growing up, and she
I
wanted
wouldn't say it's that bad, to be honest. Asuka told Suzuki to do that. So, like, at some point, it's different, you know what you're saying. I'm not saying that he could have been a little later, yes. Not full murder someone, yes. He could do that. But again, it's Asuka. She's not afraid to get kicked in the head or get dropped on her, to be honest.
to prove to him and the world that she was tough as nails. He went through with it, as we could see, and afterwards he said that he respected her more for taking such a vicious beating from him. Even though this was all planned, it was still definitely too far. This is why intergender wrestling gets such a bad rap. It's because it can spawn moments like this where it goes beyond the realms of wrestling and plain and simply just gets too real. Japanese wrestling is notoriously stiff, but it should not cross over into intergender matches to this extent. It's not even a thing of projecting Western values on Japanese wrestling, but wrong is wrong, and this was just plain wrong. After this match,
This just proves they don't hate each other. To anyone saying Asuka and Suzuki hate each other, that's not true at all.
the frequency of Asuka's performances in Japan was low, and fans started to speculate her retirement. What fueled this was when she said she will stop accepting bookings in Japan. But then out of nowhere, she appeared on an NXT TakeOver show in the crowd and announced that she had signed with WWE. As far as the rest of the story, you already know it, as she has become one of the greatest WWE women's wrestlers of all time. But that is the story of her time in Japan and her incident with Minoru Suzuki. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other videos. Also, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. But anyway, goodbye.
If you guys haven't yet, please like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you guys in the next one.